In today's information age, there's just an abundance of resources available to anybody at any time that wants to use them to learn any kind of topic that you want to learn. So if you're struggling to learn any kind of topic, it's not going to be due to a lack of information. What I've come to realize and what I've learned is that it's really due to a lack of technique to take advantage of the abundance of resources we all have available to us. Now, in last week's video, I mentioned that I'm going to be sharing today the one technique that I've learned that has enabled me to take advantage of all the resources available when I'm studying for these IT exams. The resources like labbing or textbook or just doing online courses. Because it's one thing to just pick up the book, read the book and everything, but it's a whole nother thing when you have a technique and a strategy to go about how you're going to be able to learn that information and be able to recall that information not only when you're on the job, but especially when you need it when you're on that exam and you're trying to really pass that exam. So if you're interested in learning a new technique that can possibly enhance your studying, then you definitely clicked on the right video. Also, if you're interested in content like this or you want to see more content like this, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because I'm coming at you every week with content just like this. Expressed simply, this technique that I'm referring to is known as active learning. So there's two types of learning. If you don't know, there's passive learning, and that's pretty much that public school learning that we all know about. And then you have active learning. So passive learning is just, again, just sitting through a lecture, memorizing some stuff, and then just being able to regurgitate the information. However, active learning, it gets you more involved and more engaged with the content or the subject matter that you're studying. That way that you're able to learn in a whole new and different kind of way. Hopefully it's making sense what I'm explaining, but in order to understand it a little bit better, we need to look at some of the challenges that beginners face when they're studying for an IT exam. The first challenge I'm going to talk about is just organizing your knowledge. So although the CCNA exam topics are broke down, they got the website, they got the blueprint, they got it broke down all the way to network fundamentals, to network access, all these different sections. I think it's like 4 or 5 of them or whatever. And then just traditionally, or like we've been trained to through public school, you're going to start with topic 1, and then you're going to go all the way to the last topic, and then after that, then you're going to take the exam. Of course, you're going to be doing the labs, doing the practice tests in between, reading the book and everything like that. But you're going to do it in that kind of chronological order, like section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, so on and so forth. Now, although those are broken down pretty much to where somebody can learn it and they can pass the exam, a majority of the people that do try to take that approach of just learning one by one and that traditional approach of learning, the stats show that a majority of people are failing on their first time that they're taking the CCNA. And even if they do take the exam and pass it on their first try, it's not a very easy experience for them. Active learning is going to allow you to organize that knowledge to where it's specific for you. And the benefit of doing it like that is that when the knowledge is specific to you, that means that it's going to be easily organized to where you can understand it. And then more importantly, it's going to be unique to you only, because for you to be able to organize the knowledge to where you understand it only is going to require you to spend obsessive amounts of time in each specific domain and topic to where you're organizing that knowledge into a way that you can understand it. Let me provide an example to help explain it a little bit better. Topic for STP, for example, you could definitely just watch a online course video about that. You can read about it in the textbook and you can lab it up, and then you're going to learn STP that way. Or you could take another more kind of active learning approach, which is creating a cheat sheet around STP, like how to verify STP, those command line commands that you need to verify it. Have that on your cheat sheet. Also break it down to where you have the STP port costs and the root bridge election process. You got a section for that on your cheat sheet and everything. And just organizing it to a way to where it's easily understandable to you, whatever fits you best. If you're struggling with remembering the different port costs, make sure that that's on the cheat sheet. But if you don't need that, if you know the different port calls, put something else on your cheat sheet. But it's causing you to, each time you're trying to learn about it, is just develop and think more creatively on a different iteration to try to improve the way that you're learning STP. If it's not a cheat sheet, you could try to come up with your own kind of thing that makes it unique to you and makes the knowledge more valuable to you, because it's not just general knowledge. Now it's more specific knowledge that only you can understand, and nobody's going to be able to replicate how you understand the knowledge of STP. Another challenge that I found extremely frustrating when I was studying for the CCNA is just this overwhelming amount of information that you get as a beginner. If you're a beginner and you've never worked in IT or dealt with any kind of IT related businesses or anything like that, then you're going to be introduced to a lot of new terms, a lot of new acronyms and everything. And just that alone is enough to deter anybody from trying to pursue CCNA certification, again, because it's just an overwhelming amount of information. However, again, you can take this active learning approach and discipline yourself to exercise active learning by binge watching hours and hours on different kind of topics. And when you do that, if you sit there and you binge watch and you discipline yourself to binge watch on these hours of content, and make sure that you're getting it from multiple sources. Don't just rely on just one source to teach you, again, like STP. Don't just rely on one online course. Take multiple online courses, but just what I'm saying is just overindulge in that. Make sure that you like binge watch that as much as you would binge watch Netflix. And when you do that, you start gaining different perspectives on whatever you're trying to learn, which makes it a more active learning process, because now it's causing you to think more creatively, because you're thinking about different perspectives of whatever subject that they're talking about. Finally, the biggest challenge I feel for anybody beginning in IT or studying for their exam is probably how boring and dry the content is. To me, in my opinion, it's not really exciting to learn about packet loss and ping or trace route and all of these different kind of things. It's not really that entertaining and everything. But again, if you're gonna passively learn that stuff, you're gonna have to either memorize it, because it's gonna be either you get it or you don't when you're trying to learn something that you're not that interested in. So active learning has helped me with that too, by making it more interesting. So a more active approach to the content that I'm feeling that is dry, to make it more active, I built a brand, or I'm trying to build a brand to where I'm sharing all of the knowledge that I have about it. So by me doing that, is forcing me to think more creative about the topics that I'm going to be talking about. And that causes me to do research, which causes me to generate some kind of interest, because I am interested in it somewhat. And more importantly, I'm interested into where I can learn it to where I'm able to teach it and explain it to you, or explain it to whoever wants to listen. Now, you don't have to build in public, how they say I'm doing, like building a brand in public. If you don't want to get online and share this information, you can join a study group and try to teach within your study group, because if you could teach somebody this information and share your knowledge, then that's just going to level you up, because again, you're going to have to do research and it's going to generate interest. And this stuff is not just going to be boring, because you're going to be trying to do something that is going to make you more valuable, right? Being able to teach this stuff, being able to research and study this stuff, and being able to share that. How you do that is a project in itself, and being able to share this information with anybody just makes you that much more valuable, because a lot of people, they may have the knowledge, but if they can't explain it to nobody, or they can't communicate it to nobody, it's not going to be really beneficial for them or for anybody that needs the knowledge from them as well. Combining the three challenges of organizing your knowledge, the overwhelming amount of info that you have to learn, as well as the content being dry and boring, with the fact that you're using a passive learning approach to learn all of that, is just a recipe for either you to fail the exam, or if you do pass the exam, it's not going to be easy for you. To level up and accelerate your learning, try taking a more active learning approach. Again, instead of just doing a STP lab, create your own STP lab. Don't follow along with anybody else's labs. Create your own STP lab and then just build it from scratch. And as you run into issues, then go start using your resources. Then that's when you go look up the online course for STP. But this time you're not just sitting through no dry video. You're looking up the lab on STP to see, oh, this is how I would create this in my lab environment. This is how I would make this the root bridge or this the root port. You would just focus in on those rather than just sitting back, watching some kind of online course, taking some notes, and then trying to lab it up. No, you're actively engaged in the process because there's an issue. There's research that you got to do to get your lab to work. And that's a more active approach. And it will definitely benefit you more, not only on the exam, but when you're faced with any kind of challenge in the real world when it comes to that specific topic or whatever that you're labbing or that technology that you're studying. All right, that pretty much wraps it up. Definitely, hopefully all of that made sense, and make sure y'all go ahead and try that active learning approach. Let me know in the comments. These were just a few examples that I gave. You don't have to use these exact examples, but let me know in the comments if you tried it out. Again, it's not about just sitting and reading about OSPF. The active learning approach would be something to do. Again, create a cheat sheet or create your own OSPF lab, whatever the case may be. Get creative with it. That's the whole point of active learning, is it's for you to develop your own kind of style of learning. That way that it really locks in with you and that you're able to use this information and really apply the knowledge that you learn. I appreciate each and every one of y'all as always, and I'll catch y'all on that next video. Holla at me. Peace.